Alright, I'm back. Give me 1 second because I gotta send this text message out real quick. Alright, here we go. As we know from the last video, there's really nothing around. Dang. That Jason, straight 0. I'm rushing through it right now because we already know what happened. Yeah, where you at? On the trolley, where you going? But you don't work on Thursdays. Oh, because you told me that that Thursdays and Fridays you was off because they was cutting hours at your job. Oh, oh, all right. Oh, wow. I'm in the house. I just came up to get my food and whatnot and didn't see you. And I know it was Thursday, so I was like, okay, where could she have possibly work? Yeah, I work tomorrow morning. You forgot I don't do overnight no more? Yep. Yeah. Yep. All right. All right. Bye. Oh. That's that. She gonna ask if I went in her room. Yes, I went in your room. Who names their child Cloud? I'm going to go get me something else to drink and smoke me a cigarette, you guys. So I'll be right back. I can't do nothing right now. I can't pause it. I can't do anything. Alright, I'm going to go get my drink and smoke my cigarette. me in. Oh, man. People got issues these days. I tell you, mofos ain't never satisfied. Never. No matter how much you do for a person or how much, you know what I mean, you try to help somebody out or be there for a person, they always somehow want to screw you over. Knockout 4251, how you doing? I'm about to get back on this. And we're going to get back to where we was at. If I'm going a little too fast, I mean, let me know. But I'm pretty much a professional at this game. I'm not really a novice. This is not my first time playing it. This is not the first time I've been through this game, and this is not the first time I beat the game. So I already know what to expect. But for those who have never seen it or never played it or never been through it, you know, I'm trying to pretty much go through it for those people. Do keep in mind, this was probably one of the greatest games they ever made in the history of making games. I wish they hurry up and finish with the damn remake, because the remake is what everybody's been waiting for over 20 years, and still no full finished remake. But I hear that the remake is going to be released next year, 2020. So I do, you know, think that they're probably going to release the first chapter, because from what I hear, it's going to be like episodes. So the first episode, I believe they already are finishing up and completing. So I'm eager to see what that's about. I'm gonna reserve my copy soon. That way, when it comes out, I already have it. You never beat it? Why is that? This game is, I mean, yeah, it's long. March 3rd, yep, exactly. This game was 3 discs long, the original. And the first time I played it, I breezed through it. You know, didn't really complete everything, didn't really get all the summons and all of that, didn't beat all the weapons, and, you know. I actually breezed through Sephiroth though, like, it wasn't that hard of a battle to me because my characters were kind of high level. They wasn't maxed out, but they were kind of high level. So it didn't really take me long. But the second time I went through it, you know, I kind of went through it. Yeah, I think everybody had an issue or a problem with that boss. But like the second time I went through it, I kind of like maxed out all my characters, got all their final weapons, got most of the summons. I still didn't get all of the summons, but I got most of them. And I kind of took my time, so I went through and did like 98% complete on the game, you know, but again, that was before they had like the trophy system and the achievements and all of that, so yeah. And I did it without the strategy guide, so I think that was pretty sweet. You know, this time I'm going to just rush through it the first time you know, just to show everybody what it's about and how to, you know, beat certain bosses and stuff like that. Then the second time I go through it again, and I'll complete it 100% so everybody know where everything is and all the secrets and how to unlock everything, as far as, you know, how to obtain the weapons and, you know, beat the weapons and all of that. It's going to be pretty freaking sweet. I can't wait for the remake, man. It's been a long time coming. Between this, Kingdom Hearts, and a few other games that I've been playing lately, I think that, you know, oh man, I think that the way that they put the story together was kind of, you know, creative, but at the same time it was somewhat of a weak story. You know, coming from an independent game developer, myself being an independent game developer, I feel like the story could have been a little bit better, but it served the purpose for what it... You don't know what Kingdom Hearts is? Oh man. It's basically a Disney game with most of the Disney characters in it. However, it has a lot of Final Fantasy characters because it was also created by Square. Yes, I've played not the first and the second one, but I've played the most recent one, which is Kingdom Hearts 3. I played that one on my stream. So there are videos on my channel where you can see the playthroughs of those. But you probably won't understand most of what's going on, you know, story-wise, because you haven't seen or played the first two, you know, but I'm sure you can find videos on what the story's about. Yeah, Roxas, that one wasn't really my favorite, you know, only for the fact that, you know, Sora wasn't really in that one like that. It was more based on his, you know, his nobody and his heartless. So yeah, I wasn't really feeling that one like that. I mean, yes, I did play it and I completed it, I beat it and all of that, but I wasn't really feeling that one that much, because they jump around too much with their storyline, and at some points in the game it didn't make sense. I'm sorry, let me turn my mic up a little bit, hold on. Is that better for you? I mean, when this game first came out, like, it had some of the best graphics I've ever seen. And I've been a fan of PlayStation since day one. You're very welcome. I've been a fan of PlayStation since day one, so, you know, for the graphics to be so good in this game at the time of, you know, release, it was something to look forward to. And then I played Resident Evil, and wow, the original one was the best one. I don't like all the rest of them. All the rest of them kind of, to me, they kind of suck. You know, these guys over there in the Resident Evil series, they didn't know what they wanted to do with their storyline either. So it just kind of got confusing after a while, and I stopped playing it. I tried to get into a few other games that was like similar to Resident Evil, like Dino Crisis and a couple other games, but they never really worked out for me either. It was just never really something that piqued my interest like that. But Final Fantasy's always been something I've been, into. I played all the Final Fantasies except for 11, 12, and 14, and I think 9. 9, 11, 12, and 14. I played all the rest of them. Every last one of them. And I beat every last one of them. So, yeah. I've even beaten 15, which was the most recent one. I really didn't like it too much. Only because of the fact that they put in the new fight system. And I just think that the way that they did that took away from, the originality of Final Fantasy and what everybody was used to and what everybody expected of it. But, it was an okay game. Can't complain too much about it because it served the purpose it was designed for. It was something new to look forward to and something different, and I think that's what a lot of these game companies now, I think that's what they are more or less centered towards. Something different, something new, when it comes to making their games and designing their games. Me, I like the original stuff better, so my games, the ones that I create and build, yeah, Final Fantasy IX I heard was pretty good. I heard it was pretty good, but I've never played it. But my games, as I was saying, I kind of like try to stick to, the classic styles, the original, way of doing things, because I think it makes for a better game. But also I am creative with it, so it gives it a little bit of a twist because it has like originality, but it still has the old style of like gameplay and the old feel to it. So it's like, it's like all those people who are used to playing the old style games get a good feel for, the older the games that I create. They, old feel for it, but at the same time they get something new, something original, something, a little bit more creative. So they got that little kick to it, that little twist. And, some of the people that have played demos or, tested some of the games that I'm currently working on, they seem to really like it. They told me that, I do a good job on it, and that when they're actually finally released, that they will be looking forward to purchasing a copy, So I'm just looking to finish at least one of my projects and release it. When I do release, though, I hate to say this because I'm not really a big fan of Xbox, but Xbox development program is a little bit more easy to qualify for as far as obtaining your license to be a developer. PlayStation's development program is a little bit more strict and requires a little bit more sorry, I'm getting something to drink. It requires a little bit more tactical approach, because there's a little bit of hardware and a little bit of a little bit more of a strict criteria, I should say, that is required for you to become a developer for Sony. And once I have a game on the market, then I'll look into becoming a Sony developer. But right now, I started the process. I'm not going to say I am licensed right now to develop for Microsoft or Xbox, but I did start the process. So I'm in the process of becoming a Microsoft developer for Xbox. I am, however, an Android developer. I do have a few apps on the Android marketplace. But as far as games are concerned, I don't really have too many games that are complete yet. I have like maybe 4 or 5 projects that I'm working on. And I don't have a team put together, so it's just me. So it may take a little while for me to finish these games, considering the fact that I'm doing it all by myself. But as far as from what I gathered and from what I heard, everything is looking good with these games. And I have a website out there, not really updated yet, so I'm not really trying to give anybody the links, because there's a lot of old content on there that I discarded and threw away when it came to those games that's listed on the site. There's maybe one game that may still be, available for download, and it's an endless runner style, so a lot of people wouldn't want to play it, especially on a console. And I submitted it to Xbox and they denied it because they said it wasn't that original. So I'm working on something now. It's a zombie apocalypse type game, first person shooter. It's going to take you from before the apocalypse happened to through the story. Basically, it starts off with you, your family. You're pretty much sitting in your house. You hear an announcement on the TV. Basically, it's a newscast, and it's telling you to prepare yourselves because there's a war coming or whatever, and it's supposed to be like a nuclear type war, and they tell you to seek shelter at a specific place, and that's where the game actually takes place. It starts off with you arriving at the shelter or whatever. That's when you can actually take control of your character, let me put it that way. You arrive at the shelter and whatnot like that, and when you get to the shelter, it's basically your home camp, and from there, you set up a few things like your food source, your way of defending your camp and things like that, and then the nuclear warhead hits, and when it hits, it pretty much wipes out most of existence. And after that, any survivors that were left, based on what you do throughout the game and your actions throughout the game, determines whether or not the survivors that you encounter are those that'll help you or those that'll stab you in the back. When you're out scavenging for goods, you might get missions from certain people, that are survivors or whatever. They may ask you to, help them obtain something or help them do something, or, retrieve something, or to help rescue someone else, or something along those lines. And depending on how you respond and what you do in that game will determine that survivor's relationship with you. If they choose to assist you, or if they choose to pretend like they're going to assist you and then stab you in the back. You know, so it gets really, 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 really complicated when it comes to that. But then you got hordes and hordes of zombies, and the zombies are dumb in the beginning, but they start off dumb, but they get smarter over time. Meaning, like, you'll see a lot of zombies in the beginning of the game. They, you know, just wander around and, you know, attack any and everything and whatnot. They really don't have no type of, you know, brains at all. But later, as you know, progress through the game, and as the apocalypse gets deeper into the apocalypse, the zombies start to get smarter. They react to sound, you know, they react to movement and things like that. You know, so your best bet would be, you know, to try to kill them silently, because if you make too much noise, then you draw more zombies. And, you know, if you fire gunshots, zombies that are not even close will start to, you know, head in the direction of the gunshots and stuff like that, the sounds from the gunshots, and then, you know, you'll end up being in the area where now you have what was 10 or 15 zombies that you got to kill. Now you got like 200, 300, 400 zombies in that area, you know, because you done fired off a few shots, you know. Later, you know, it gets to a point where, you know, you see hordes and hordes of zombies. They'll be walking down the street in groups or walking through an area in groups, and it's not like little tiny maps. They're huge, huge maps. So when it comes to the world, it's like a real world. It's open, and you can pretty much go anywhere, visit anywhere, and do just about anything. You know, certain areas are going to be off limits, you know, until like you get to a certain point on the game, or until you get certain items or whatever to be able to obtain those, you know, areas and unlock those areas or whatever. There's going to be some hidden side quests and things like that in there. There's going to be some hidden missions. You know, I don't know if I'm going to implement a trophy system in it yet or not, but I may not, because it'll take longer for development purposes to implement the trophy systems and stuff like that. But if I decide to do a sequel to it, there will be a trophy system for that. And hopefully with this attempt, I'll get my approval and become a licensed, full-fledged independent game developer. And a lot of people have a misconception of the word independent, you know, when it comes to game development. They think just because you're an independent game developer that it means you're not that good at creating games. Pretty much you're a rookie at it, or, you know, you're not as skilled. But that, it doesn't mean that. What it basically means is that you're not a team of developers, or you're not, you know, you're a standalone company. You're not associated with like a major gaming company that produces major, you know, big name games. But it doesn't mean that you can't have big name games or you can't be associated with them. It just means that you're a standalone company. You're independent from the rest. You're able to do what you want and not have to follow, you know, specific guidelines that, or specific rules that these bigger name companies like Square Enix and Capcom and, you know, all the others have to follow. You know, with them, and them being hundreds and hundreds of people and, you know, multiple different teams and stuff like that, there's certain guidelines and rules that they have to follow amongst each other. Like, for instance, one team may be set up just for the purposes of creating levels. There may be another team that's set up just for programming purposes, and the programming purposes team can collaborate with the level design team, but they're not allowed to touch anything dealing with, the level design side of things. When you're independent, you pretty much don't have to follow those particular rules. You can pretty much touch any and everything that you want to touch and make it the way that you really want to make it, rather than having to follow a blueprint that somebody else had laid out. For instance, a studio or, a writer or something like that. It's pretty much, that's what independent means. It means to be independent, to be on your own, and the same applies with being an independent game developer. So when I say independent developer, don't think, oh yeah, well, there's trashy games. Now my thing is, I done seen a lot of these independent games out here that's on like the marketplaces and stuff. Some of them are for free, some of them are cheap or whatever, and a lot of them are trash. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I done, experimented with a lot of them. Like, I've downloaded some of them, I've played a lot of them, and a lot of them really, to me, I feel like shouldn't even be on the marketplace or shouldn't even be, available, or shouldn't even been approved to be available, but who am I? I'm not, Microsoft or anyone like that to make that determination. So, I really can't make that determination, but it is what it is, I just don't want to have one of my games that I make look cheesy or trashy like that. I'm trying to make sure that when I'm done, everything is going to be great, And I know my first couple of games or whatever may not be all that great, but if they look great, I'm happy. Even if the gameplay ain't all that great, or, the stories ain't all that great, I'm still happy because they look good. And from what I know from experience, games that look good, even if they're trash, a lot of times people will buy and play your game just because of the way it looks. And if you were to ever do anything else and you make it look just as good or better, then they will be more eager to purchase your next game just because of the way it looks. And with that being said, I feel like with a good looking game, even if the gameplay mechanics suck, or even if it's, not really a good game, that I'll have a better chance the second time around than I would with the first time around, and it should be, better for me. So even if I'm not making any money off my first game, my first full developed game, then I should at least pick up something and obtain something by the time my second game is, released, or shortly thereafter. Like, I can do games like this as well, 2D, 3D dimensional games, however, I'm more or less focused on trying to get, like, a real life type of game out first, something that's more complicated than this. Because a game like this is not really that difficult to put together. You just need a good story behind it. And with a good story, you'll have a great game. And that's where I fall a little short when it comes to certain types of games. Give me my daggone material. Dancing chocobos. Woo! Yep. Got my first joint. My first summon right there. Dang! 100 kill, you out of your freaking ever-loving minds. Yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm gonna get the cheapest one. Let's see. Now I got some material to work with. Nope. I know that you're a sexy thing. Come on with this stupid stuff, man.
God knows it's yours.
Got one.
I know that you're a sexy thing. It's taking everything in me. Not to kiss you on the bum, to be with I do. Wonder how the hell could I not want you? Girl, it don't have to be a thing. I'll wait for you, you wait for me. Thing. 'Cause true love's insistent, we don't have to rush at all, baby. Yeah.
They talk too much. Expensive. I remember from before just how expensive that joint is. Addiction. This is a fighter. That's cool. Hurry up and get there. Hurry up and get there. Hurry up. You know what? You up. Dang.
God knows that you're a sexy thing. It's taking everything you need. Not to kiss you over, but to be with I do. Thunder, how the hell could I not want you? Girl, it don't have to be a thing. I'll wait for you, you wait for me. God knows that you're a sexy thing. It's taking
Get her. Alright guys, I'm about to end this stream. Get dressed and head out to work. Yeah. We'll pick up from right here. My next stream. Guys, have a good one.